All right, welcome back, Prospect Live viewers. We're back with another 2020 MLB Draft team preview. Joining me today is Joe Doyle from the site. Joe, we're breaking down the Kansas City Royals, who, surprisingly enough, are one of the more interesting teams in the draft this year. They, of course, pick at 4 in the first rounds, but they have a few picks here, as you can see on the screen, 32 and 41. So much like the Orioles, they have a lot of bonus pool money to play with and 3 picks essentially in the top 40 picks in the draft. So they're kind of in the driver's seat in terms of what they can do with their pool money. And I think the most interesting thing with KC is what they're going to do, in that competitive balance round and then again in the second round. But let's start off real quick. What do you think they're going to do at pick 4?
Yeah, Kansas City kind of holds the keys to the top 10, don't they? I mean,
They do.
there's a little bit of whispers about Baltimore going in a different direction at 2, but it does really seem like everything is hinging on whether or not Kansas City goes with Zach Veen at number 4. No, but with that pick, I think there's a lot of ways to do this right. I think Nick Gonzalez makes a ton of sense from an organizational standpoint, from a competitive window standpoint, in matching up with Bobby Witt Jr. up in the middle. I think that makes a lot of sense. As far as the pitching crop goes, Meyer, Hancock, it's not the biggest need for the team right now after they just blew it out of the water a few years ago by picking up arms. So probably going to go with a position player. If it's me, you could go Gonzalez, you could go Veen. I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think both of those are 2 impact players at positions of need.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of those guys are players that, I certainly think they can go either way. Veen's kind of interesting because he doesn't seem to be the first choice just about anywhere, but I still feel like he's going to fall somewhere in those, first 7 or 8 selections. Probably makes the most sense. But let's talk a little bit about their second round. We already pulled some footage here of Drew Romo. You've heard actually in particular, I'm kind of repeating your information here, but you've heard that Romo potentially could be in play with KC. It's a team that he personally would consider signing with. They have the money. They have the picks there at 32 and 41. Is Romo a possibility at either of those selections?
Yeah, I mean, I think going with Drew Romo, that's a great fit. The Royals picking up another defensive stud behind the plate. I mean, Salvador Perez is locked in for a few years, but and he's still rehabbing. But can you think of a better situation where you phase Salvador Perez out in a couple of years and Drew Romo slides in? I just think that's a match made in heaven. They have plenty of money, and Romo does have the leverage of being able to go to school. So it's unconventional, but he can definitely pick and choose what teams he would be willing to sign with. I've heard Kansas City is one of those teams, and I think if he does slide back to that, 31st pick, 32nd pick, and he's willing to sign with the Royals, that would be a really good value for the organization.
Where do you think they go? Let's just say 432, 41. Throw 3 names at me. Pick one at 40. At 4. You can't go with Veen / Gonzalez. I want you to pick one and then tell me what you think they do at 32 and 41.
All right. Well, if I am Dayton Moore, I'm going with Nick Gonzalez. I'm higher on Nick Gonzalez than I think. I think some people in the industry have him as a safe floor, lower ceiling, but I think the guy can be one of the best second basemen in baseball. I mean, he's a very physical second baseman, and he's not the best defender up the middle, but he can get the job done. So I would go with Nick Gonzalez at 4. At 32. Hey, I mean, if Drew Romo's on the board, you're looking at potentially a top 15 talent 3 years from now if he can just learn how to hit a little more for a little bit more impact. So I think that's a great pick. I think Drew Romo at 32 makes a lot of sense. And then if you're skipping out on Veen and you are skipping out on an outfielder at 32, I think at 41 you start looking at maybe an Isaiah Green that falls into that round, or you start looking at maybe a Chase Davis. If you get Nick Gonzalez at 4, you're going to save a lot of money on that pick. That's my understanding. So you should have more than enough money at 32 and 41 to pay Drew Romo, as well as get a high impact bat that can stick in the outfield.
And I'll even throw another one out at you. What if one of these potential, back end of the first round prep arms potentially falls down a little bit? You have the money there, especially if you save at 4. It wouldn't shock me if at 30, 32, or 41, maybe they're able to bump down Jared Kelly, somebody like that. We've heard that he's fallen a little bit, and they certainly have the money. It wouldn't shock me if they went in a direction like that. There's certainly a lot of possibilities at play, college arms as well, that they could they could pack up with 4 and 32 if they went with a couple of bats. Maybe they land a Schuster or Swinney or somebody like that at 41. There's a lot of different possibilities. I think you've already given me all the possible scenarios, all the players you want to see Kansas City grab. Any other sort of far-reaching thoughts on Kansas City's draft this year?
No, I mean, I think we've pretty much covered everything. When you look at Kansas City, you look at San Diego, you look at Tampa and Baltimore, these teams, Miami, that have all these picks. They're going to have the most flexibility, and ultimately they might end up having the most fun on June 10th and June 11th. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I think Kansas City is going to be a team to watch.
I totally agree. Thank you very much, Joe. And we're going to have a lot of fun on June 10th and 11th as we're going to do a live broadcast during the draft, pick-by-pick analysis with Joe and several other folks from our site, as well as others will be joining us to provide that analysis. So tune in. That will start at 7 o'clock on Wednesday.